Hey everybody. It's been 13 days since my last post. I have been doing some serious detail work. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. It is, what is that, 35 degrees? Humidity is 60%. I've been working on the Astrodome. I mentioned earlier that I'm going to get as many details on the flight deck that I can that involve going back and forth before I build the flight deck, so I don't trip on that step that'll soon be there and fall and die, because I will. We have done quite a bit up here since the last time you saw it. Once again, this is a B-36H, which is essentially the same as the B-36J. The H and the J's differ from the A, B, D, E, and F's, or the RBEs, because those are early model B-36s. Early model B-36s, especially starting with the A model, their frames continue up here, and there's a very small, I guess a hexagon or something like that, shape, just big enough for a body to fit through, because there was no Astrodome. There was just a escape hatch up there. What they did was they took the Astrocompass to the siding blisters, which are significantly bigger than that, and they used those on the gun turrets locations for shooting the stars. Well, I guess that wasn't good enough, so the later B-36s, the starting with the B, had an actual Astrodome, which it was still kind of an afterthought, because once again, it didn't have this dedicated cast piece like mine does, or the H models and J models do, but rather that actual frame made it, and there was a cast piece that actually sat up on top of the canopy. It was very much an afterthought until the H model came around. If you look on the H and J models in the museums, they have these flat surfaces right here. There's one on either side. What these are mounts for your Astrocompass arm, or actually it's called a support. These were fun. I had to machine these. Maybe someday I'll show you the details, but you got the raised parts on all four corners for your bolts to go through, and you got a central raised part with the ribs, strengthening ribs, so it's like an X. And then you've got a 10/28 bolt that goes right through there, and then it comes to the other side, and you can actually torque that in there, and these don't go anywhere because they need to be level. Interestingly, I don't have any pictures of these in the illustrated parts breakdown or any of the dash ones or technical orders that I possess. So the pictures that I based these on were from essentially looking from the outside of the B-36 in. They're very small and very grainy. I based these off of what pictures I do have, which is off the Convair Model 240. They're essentially the same. I think the only difference that the B-36 has is that it has the space in between here, whereas on the 240, it was straight and it did not have this milled recess right here. But what these do is these are angled on the inside here, so you kind of like a blade that drops down in there, and they're tapered. These are just a little bit, doesn't take much with metal to create the obstruction. So what I have here can fit in. I believe there's a placard on that door that says Astrocompass support, Navigator's Astrocompass support. So you're gonna get in here, if it doesn't fall, and you reach in here, we'll grab this support that I've been making. My machine tools, well, my lathe is doing good, but my milling machine's doing good, but my lathe is very uncooperative. So this piece is going to have 4 holes in it. And what that does, and I dreaded making this video because I knew I was only going to have one hand available. But I want to show you guys how this works. I'm going to set my phone down for a minute. Sorry. But here's the arm. Really good look at it. This spins. It's going to have a pull spring-loaded pin and then 4 bolts or 4 holes so that little detent can go in there and you can lock it. And then you got your Astrocompass. What an Astrocompass is for, you have this really big almanac which tells you where the stars are during certain periods of the year and certain times. And you shoot that star and you look in the almanac, and it's a way to determine where absolute north is. So you can utilize your compass. But this guy doesn't just sit on here. He's actually got a doohickey. It kind of resembles this. Goes right there, and it attaches with 3 truss bolts, which are basically Phillips head bolts with bigger heads on them, wider heads. This is a hole saw, but it looks identical to that. And this has, the Astrodome has a milled area right there, or that will have a milled area to accept that, and another milled area to accept that, which tightens down onto that. And of course that bolts onto there. But like so. Anyways, oh, don't drop the Astrocompass, Brian. She's safe. I need to find a piece of pipe. I think it's 1 15/16 inside diameter and 2 1/16 outside diameter. So if I can't find it, I'm gonna have to machine it, and my lathe will behave. If not, I'll find another way. So going back to this, as I described earlier, it has those tapered areas, and they're slightly tapered. These plates are, so they drop right in there. So you can go up here, and then drops right. Beautiful. I still might have to do a little cutting to get this perfectly level. I still have a lot of work to do. Ignore that. Interestingly, back in pre-World War II, they had standardizations, this chart, or I'm sorry, a book that went around to all the aircraft manufacturers. And one thing they standardized was the Astrodome in airplanes like the B-17, C-47, so on and so forth. So what that did, that standardization said that that point had to be right there, that point had to be right there, and it was mounted over there, had to be there, there. So you had 4 points. That's all I know. I wish I knew what that system was called. I suspect you need that. So, you know, if you suspect that that is north, you've got to be able to get your head here. Or if you suspect that is north, and the same thing over here. Because what this does, I initially thought this was for stowage, but it's not. You just turn it around, and it drops down there. And then it's facing that corner. And it does the same thing on the other side. Like so. Just drops right in there. And we can take the Astrocompass, once I get that mount built, put it right there and get it all leveled out, and we're good to go. But that's how that works. Of course, having this guy installed, I learned that I'm gonna have to modify my adapter ring for my Astrodome. That's temporary now. I'm gonna build another one out of steel. I was just aluminum happy that day. But I'll get that up in there. And when you're done, you take him out of there. And you put them back in the bin, but we'll put her on the seat for now, because something else that is very interesting is right here. These 4 holes are for things that stick out, brackets, and they got a big bolt that goes across. What that's for is for 2 things. Number 1, it's the big pressure guard, which is basically that, except made out of aluminum, I suspect. It actually can drop down, so it would be convex, and then you push it up and it would pop in there. And then this would be right behind it, and it would fall down on that. It would have things and a clamp and whatever, and you push it up in there, and then you do your things. Because it's very difficult to balance the Astrodome on your hand and pop it in there and then do these three. So I'll be building that next, which won't take me very long. I think that's about it. These guys were very unfun to build, but outside of the 2 pictures that I know of that exist, this is the first time anybody's ever seen these installed in a B-36. So, the Astrodome is a very complex animal. Let's leave it at that. I'll see y'all next time.